Sunday afternoon. I don't know who the hell is going to be watching this on YouTube now, but if you are, thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel, turn on all the notifications, the bells and whistles and all that crap. So congratulations first off to everyone that competed in the NPC Nationals, to all those who turned pro, and there were many of them. In the thumbnail, there's a picture of a gentleman. Don't know his name, and I'm not going to call him out. I do not want to call this guy out. But the picture's kind of gone viral over the weekend on social media. A lot of people have posted it, shared it. It's a gentleman that competed in the NPC Nationals, which is a pro qualifier. It is our top amateur competition in the United States of America, a nation of 350 million people, something like that. This is a very prestigious contest. Past overall champions have included Lee Haney, the first champ 40 years ago, Kevin Levrone, Sean Ray, Paul DeMeo. Jay Cutler didn't even win the overall. He turned pro at Nationals. Victor Martinez, Hunter Labrada more recently, Evan Senapani. A lot of amazing athletes, bodybuilders who come out of the NPC Nationals. So in the thumbnail is a picture of this gentleman who competed, and he was clearly very, very overweight, very out of shape, did not prepare for this contest. Don't even know if he works out at all. I don't know his name. I will say that someone posted on Dave Pulcinella's Instagram that they saw him backstage and it was clear that he was autistic. So, but the question I'm posing to you guys is, and I want to get your opinion because this can be argued both ways. Should this man have been allowed to compete because he's so incredibly out of place in a contest where people have been training for years, dieting for months, shredded, sunken faces, 2, 3, 4% body fat, striations, veins everywhere, and he's got literally giant globs of fat hanging over his suit, a big fat belly, man boobs. He's obese. He's obese. He's very out of shape. Don't know if he works out. Maybe he works out a little bit. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. The point is he was incredibly out of place. So here's the argument. He's out of place. It's could be seen as very disrespectful to all the other competitors who have trained for many years, worked very hard, dieted, suffered to look their absolute best on stage. And it's kind of a slap in the face when someone stands next to you that clearly they're not, they don't look anything like a competitor, nothing. But then you could argue on the other hand, he qualified to get there somehow. My guess is, and I would bet you a large sum of money on this, he showed up to some national qualifier, an NPC nationally qualifying contest, and he was the only one in his class. So he won the class by default. I can't imagine that guy, unless he used to be shredded, which I doubt, I can't imagine he beat anybody. So by default, he wins his class at this show because there's no one else there. And now he's qualified for nationals. He says, I'm going to go to the nationals. He paid his money. It's $375 per category to compete in the nationals. Some people did like both men's physique and classic. So some people did a couple different categories. Nonetheless, he paid $375 to enter the contest, got himself to Orlando. I don't know if he's local or not. Maybe some of you guys watching this know something about the man. It's not really that relevant. But, what they say, some people are saying he didn't hurt anybody. He's not taking away anyone's placing. He placed last. Or, anyone that doesn't place in the top 15, they get 16th because a lot of these classes have 30, 40, sometimes 50 people in a single weight class. They're not going to sit there and go all the way down to 38th place, 40. They don't. They do the top 15 and everybody else is 16th. So if you don't make top 15, you're just 16th. So I imagine that's what he got. So he wasn't taking away anyone's placings. Was he really taking up that much space on stage or taking extra time for the judges to look at him? He's not going to he didn't get to do his posing routine, I'm sure. So it could be argued both ways, because bodybuilding, you could argue that it's not a sport. If it's a sport, there are you couldn't show up at, if you showed up to a boxing match or an MMA match and you had no training, did not know how to fight, you'd get beaten badly, you'd get hurt. But this is more of a pageant. It's a pageant to display the physique. But nonetheless, let's look at something. If you want to call it a beauty pageant for muscles or a muscle pageant, if you have a high-level beauty pageant, and I don't think beauty pageants are going to be around much longer. I think they're going to get canceled because they're probably considered degrading and sexist and objectifying women and all that. But you wouldn't have the Miss America contest with all these young, beautiful women and then a 50-year-old, 400-pound woman with missing teeth and patches of her hair gone and a face like Quasimodo because she feels pretty inside and she wants to showcase her inner beauty just by staying there. You know, they wouldn't let her on stage. So what's the NPC supposed to do in a situation like this? Are they supposed to say, have someone spotting backstage, you can't compete, you can't compete? I think what would happen in a case like that, because America is a very litigious society, litigious. We have a lot of lawyers and they like to sue because a lot of lawyers don't have much business, so they sue. They help people sue for money. So if this gentleman or another person who was clearly not ready for the stage, so out of place, did not look anything like the other competitors, if they were somehow denied entry, I bet they would sue. I bet they would just sue the organization, the promoters, whoever, looking for monetary damages and this and that. So yeah, so it's time to, as I say, go to the phones. That's how old I am. So I'm going to go to your comments and questions because I created this video is really just to hear what you guys have to say. I've already said my opinion. I mean, I'd be embarrassed if that was me, but like I said, this gentleman apparently, from what I understand, he's autistic, so he's really not aware. Okay, so here we go. Looks like he spilled it a little bit, but that's it. Yeah, they're on the original Pulcinella, David Pulcinella post. Did I call him Mike? That's his brother that does the video work. He's a great videographer. You know, a lot of people making jokes like he missed his peak, he did this. Yeah, obviously he's didn't peak, he didn't diet. He should be in jail. No, Frank Rizzo, he shouldn't go to jail. Come on, lock him up. Exodus Onan, how did he qualify? Like I said, I don't know, but you have to qualify for the nationals by winning your class. It might be top 2, but I think you have to win your class at an NPC show that's designated as a national qualifier. And if you're the only person that happens to show up in your weight class, maybe he was the only super heavyweight, maybe there was nobody over 225 pounds competing. He shows up a very obese, let's say 240. I'm just making all this up. I don't know what actually happened with this guy. He wins by default. He's the super heavyweight winner of that show, and he's qualified for the nationals. So, and he goes. That's how he got there. Abel Hernandez. If you don't have development of the body all around, you shouldn't be on a stage. That's like me stepping on a stage. It just shouldn't happen. It's bodybuilding. That's not bodybuilding. Yeah, you know, other people have said there are transformation contests for people like that who maybe they were 500 pounds or 600 pounds or something ridiculous and they lost 300 pounds and they're still overweight, but you know, they've come a long way and they're proud of what they've done. Well, that's great, but this is a stage for determining the very best amateurs and who deserves to be a professional. So this is the top amateur competition for bodybuilding, classic physique, men's physique, women's bikini, figure, fitness. What else? Women's physique, bodybuilding, wellness. There's a lot of classes. Anyway, you get the point. The guy says, I'm with Frank. Jail? No, we can't put him in jail. Come on now. You guys are horrible. Aesthetics, hard style. The fat acceptance needs to stop and put in their place. That's a whole other thing. Yeah, this fat acceptance movement, I'm all for. I don't want anyone to feel ashamed of themselves or feel horrible about themselves or, you know, I don't want anyone being in that position. But at the same time, this fat acceptance movement wants us to say it's healthy to be fat. It's fine. It's not healthy. It's not fine. You're at a increased danger for diabetes, of course, heart disease, cancer. If you're severely overweight and you get COVID, the Rona, you're probably going to be one of the ones who's put on a ventilator, and you're probably going to be one of the ones who doesn't make it because you're so grossly overweight. So being overweight is bad. It's bad. Mike Rothwell, why everyone tripping about a dude that overcarbs slightly? He overcarbed by like 3K. Says Norvell Harris. Norvell, one of our top MD YouTube members. Thank you, Norvell. I love the last name. Harris is a Welsh name. Did you know that? I knew that. Message is held for review. Sometimes I like to. Yeah, you can't call women the B word, dude. We can't do that. No, it's 2021. It's almost 22. Norville says he should be locked up and put on a water-only diet. Yeah. Peyton Crystal Siegel, he shouldn't pass qualification. Our aesthetics hard style. I don't have the video. I'm sorry. It was a live stream. I didn't I didn't tape it or anything like that. All I have is that thumbnail. I don't know if he would. Yeah, he would be in the video because they had a stream of the entire judging and everything. So somewhere he's in that video. I don't even know. I think he was a light. I heard he was a light heavy, which I find hard to believe that guy was under 198 and a quarter. But I think he was. So he must be really short if he's that overweight. Brian Lee, that should not be allowed because it undermines the hard work of all the true competitors who sacrifice so much to be on stage. I feel it also takes away from the sport itself. Yeah, I mean, I competed many times, and there's always one in every show I think I've ever been to. I've been a spectator at probably thousands of contests now. Geez, there's always one person in every show, sometimes more than one, but there's always one person. I remember for years and years there was this older guy. His name's Steve. He was somehow mentally handicapped. I'm not sure what his diagnosis was. Maybe autism. I don't know. He would do every show that Steve Weinberger put on in that New York, New Jersey, in that area. He would just show up and do, I think he was Masters or whatever. He would do every show, and he was totally white, pasty, hair on his body, didn't even shave, didn't even bother to get rid of the hair. Didn't look like he ever touched a weight, but he'd show up in his blue trunks. He had the same pair of trunks. Sometimes he'd be like drooling, and he was at every contest. I saw that guy. He even did the Universe one year, I think, when I was covering it for MD. So, what can you do? He paid his money. These are shows, those regional shows you don't have to qualify for. So anybody can show up to those. And my point is, yeah, when you've worked very, very long, very hard to get to look like the top competitors, and you know what that caliber of physique looks like, and you've suffered, you've done hours and hours and thousands of hours of cardio and dieted on very low carbs, and you've gone through a lot to look as good as you do on that particular day. And then you see somebody stand next to you on stage who's either they look like they've never touched a weight, or they've just been eating like nonstop pizza and donuts 24/7. I would personally feel I'd be a little offended if truth be told. Joseph Abrams, simple rule change requiring body fat to be below 50%, 15%, not 50, or something along those lines. Yeah. Like I said, though, I really think the danger for the promoters, for the organization, would be a lawsuit. Because, if he qualified to be there, he paid his money, you're going to tell him you can't compete because you don't belong, you don't look like these people. This isn't, it's not like a sport like, football, baseball, basketball, where if you're not good enough to be on that team or on that field, you're just not. Like, there were tryouts. A lot of you guys remember back in high school or whatever, there were tryouts for the team. You try it out for football, you try it out for wrestling or basketball or whatever. And a lot of times people don't make the cut and they don't get on the team because they're not good enough. Coaches wanted good players on their team. This isn't quite like that because these aren't teams or anything. It's just all competitors who paid their money. So $375 per class. He would smoke Big Lenny. Yeah, Big Lenny actually has some muscle. Big Lenny, if you guys, some of you, I'm sure all you younger guys know, you guys who used to follow the Del Rey Misfits and Jason Genova, remember there's a guy named Big Lenny. Lenny Person, is that his name? Person? Anyway, he had a good amount of muscle mass. He had this big fat gut, enormous gut. But he would pay his money, but he never did national level. He just did all the local, he would do local shows down in Florida in that area, I think. David Phelan, 992, I know he wanted to be there, but what he has to think is that we want bodybuilding taken serious, and this just sets us back. It hurts the sport. Like, why do that to yourself in the sport? So yeah, someone I saw on Instagram commented that they were around this guy and he seemed to be autistic. And the gentleman I was referring to earlier that competed in a lot of the New York area shows, he was mentally deficient in some way too. I don't know the proper, we don't use the R word though, like when I was a kid. So I don't know the proper terminology, what's politically correct to say, but there was something, he didn't have the mental capacity to know that he didn't belong there. And that seems to be the case with most of these people that show up looking so incredibly out of place. They're not all there, and there's no screening process. I'm sure if you denied someone, you can't deny people the chance to compete either. I mean, there's actually been some decent bodybuilders with Down syndrome, which that's a genetic birth defect where they're developed, the mental development is limited and so forth. Anyway, let's keep going. It's me, TC. What's up, Big Ron? Hope you're good. Yeah, man. It's good. I think we have gone soft as a society. Oh, that's an understatement. And people and organizations are scared to speak the truth. Sad times, but we must stay strong. I honestly, I think, like I said, I think they would be scared of a lawsuit because people sue over every little thing now. And, this guy could easily, if they had gone backstage or even at the weigh-ins. The weigh-ins happened a couple days before, so you weigh in your trunk. So the people checking in the competitors and weighing them in, they had to look at this guy a couple days before he took the stage. So people knew that this guy was in the contest. But again, what do? You say, no, you look at you. You don't look like a bodybuilder. You can't compete in bodybuilding at the national NPC national championships. Get out of here. Ding. He'd be on like a 1-800 lawsuit or I want to sue someone.com, that day trying to find a lawyer to get him a couple million or $1 billion in damages. Who got sued? Drake? Someone was trying to sue Drake for $4 billion. I gotta look into that. More jokes. Mark says he's pretty full. Would give Phil Heath a run for his money. Haha. Jermichael Pratt is money, and he's an amateur. If he got past the local show, then it is what it is. Yeah. I mean, it is. It is what it is. He won his class. I can't imagine that guy beat anybody. He must have been the only person that showed up in a particular weight division at some national qualifier show. Nope, none of you guys know anything about this guy? I mean, it's not really that important, but I'm just curious. Another message held for review. Tested for IQ. Someone said NPC shows should be tested for IQ. No, it's not a intelligence contest, so that's not necessary. You retracted that. Let's see. Mike Rothwell, Big Lenny is more delusional. Like I said, Big Lenny, at least Big Lenny, he trains and he has muscle. He's got a horrible, disgusting physique because that giant gut out to here, but he looks a lot more like a bodybuilder. I mean, he had some definition in other areas of his body, I remember. But yeah, I mean, if Lenny was on the national stage, it would have been pretty bad too. It's me, TC. That was in regards to society needing to act like being overweight is okay. Also applies to the thumbnail pic. Someone needing to tell that dude he wasn't ready. I don't think he had anybody around him to tell him what was going on. I don't think he had a coach. If he had a coach, that coach needs to be reprimanded, seriously reprimanded, because you should never let anybody get on stage. I mean, I do a little bit of coaching, not a lot, because I don't have much time for it. But good example, I had a client who just did. She won the physique division at the Battle Royale show, the same show that Carlos Thomas Jr. qualified for nationals at 4 weeks ago. She was originally going to do the New England, which was 3 weeks prior, and she wasn't obese or anything like that. But I said, for you to look the way you want to look and the way I want you to look, because you're representing me as your coach, we need a couple more weeks. We got to find another show. So she found that show in Virginia 3 weeks later, and it worked out. She looked much better. She got way leaner, and she won. So I don't think that gentleman, this guy had a coach. I don't think he had anyone around him to tell him, what are you doing in the national NPC? I don't think he knew any competitors, any bodybuilders. He was just a rogue off on his own that somehow got to the show. Big Lenny. Everyone loves Big Lenny. Not funny. That's your name. Says, kind of cool to see a regular guy standing next to the big guys. Put in perspective. Big Lenny too. Yeah, Big Lenny's coming up a lot in these conversations, isn't he? Angel Rodriguez. Oh yeah, you already said that. Simon, is it possible for natural to lose? Oh, now you're asking questions. Is it possible for natural to lose fat while maintaining all gains? No, it's not. Any advice? Asking for myself. Just real quick, Simon, it is not possible. I competed naturally from 89 to 95, then took a couple years off. Went on drugs after that. But every time a natural bodybuilder gets extremely low body fat, you end up losing a little bit of muscle in the process. If you stay lean and you diet very gradually, You can retain most of your muscle mass, but you need steroids to retain muscle while you're on lower calories and doing all the cardio. That's, to me, steroids aren't that important in prep because you're not building muscle, but the important aspect of them in prep is they help you retain your muscle mass. So, but I'm gonna make sure this video is still going. Oh, okay. Sorry guys, I gotta make sure it's still going. Okay. Timestamp. I don't have video of the guy. I'm sorry. I don't. I guarantee you tomorrow, like Nick Strength and Power and Nick Trigilli, they'll all have videos and they'll be talking about this guy. And Trigilli will talk crap about him. Don't worry. Connor St. Jean, I think it would be too complicated to make it something like this is not allowed, but I think we also have the right to openly criticize anyone who shows up like this. Yeah, and we're criticizing him. And like I said, if the gentleman is autistic or mentally handicapped or whatever, it's too bad that there's no one around him that could have said, this isn't a good idea. You shouldn't enter this nationals is for the elite, the best amateurs in the country. This isn't for you. But he must not have had anyone around him to tell him that. Ryu Ken says he's making a joke of our sport. Don't let people disgrace us like that. Joseph Flint says, calm down, guys. He just spilled over. Jokes. Gregory Elise, pro from Canada. What's up, Gregory? What's up, bro? Is it me or Carlos' physique looks like Caprice Murray's? A little bit like Caprice. You know who he reminds me of is Akeem Williams. Akeem. Whichever way I say it, somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong. So anyway, yeah, but so the way the biceps and triceps are so full and round, that quad sweep, he's to me a shorter version of Akeem Williams. But yeah, I see the Caprice Murray. I see that too. Caprice was so big and round. Eddie Sketty, when I saw this, I felt the show was being disrespectful for letting him compete. After sitting back and thinking about what they should have done, there was actually nothing I could come up with. Yeah, they can't do anything. What are they going to do? You can't tell these people, you can't tell anyone you can't compete if they're there. They already got there. Maybe this guy flew in or drove. I don't know. He got there somehow, unless he's from Orlando. He got his ass to Orlando to the show, paid his $375. NPC card, I think, is like $150 now. So he's a member of the NPC. He had competed in some other contest, a nationally qualifying event, and qualified. So what are you going to do? You can't kick him out of the show. But you can criticize him. But again, I think he is somehow mentally handicapped, and we definitely have to take that into account when we're talking shit about him. Don't let him on stage. Window licker, that's a modern term. Window licker. I never heard that one. They took his money, yeah. Eric, is it LMAO, Lenny, looking thick, solid, tight, absolute unit. Aesthetics, hard style. Hopefully, it may make him work out and get shredded and become a competitor later on. Hoping for the best. Anything could happen. Yeah, maybe this experience for him, if he's got that mental capacity, could be an eye opener to see, oh wow, this is what I'm supposed to look like. But then again, he was just at a contest. At some point recently, some point this year, he qualified. He competed somewhere. So I think he knows, but he might look in the mirror and see something completely different from what we're seeing. He might look in the mirror and see cuts and veins and definition and a six-pack and striations. Maybe he sees all that. There are people that see things in the mirror that nobody else sees. I mean, even when I'm in the mirror at the gym, I see things, I take a picture and go, oh, that's not what it looked like. I thought I looked better than that, but no, apparently not. That was all in my head. I used to tell my wife when she'd take pictures, why can't you make me look just like Jay Cutler? She'd say, because you're half his size, dipshit. Anyway, she's great. Joseph Flynn, it was just a pilot for yet another division. Above the super heavyweights, introducing the overweight division. I mean, I hope there are no more divisions. Please, no more divisions. Please. We have 11 now. That is more than enough. No, I hope we don't end up with a division for people that don't look like they work out. This goes back to, when it all started, it was just bodybuilding, men's and women's bodybuilding. That was it. That's all there was. When I was a young kid, we didn't have all these other divisions. And, it took a certain amount of muscle to stand on stage as a bodybuilder. Now somebody can go from, I've seen women go from never been to a gym in her life to competing in bikini within a couple months. And I've seen some of them turn pro a couple months after that. But, nobody is going from never touched a weight to turning pro as a bodybuilder in the space of a few months. It's just, no, it's not possible. Muscle, even for the craziest genetic freaks, it still takes them a little bit more time than that. Am I getting off on another tangent? What? Mike Rothwell says, why did Kevin Levrone's bulge in his trunks change over the years? I didn't know that it did. Did it get bigger or small? I don't know. Maybe it was cold at one show and it was warm at another show. I don't know, dude. It's hilarious. You gotta laugh. Guys. Humor is important. Maybe you had a super body fat class. Insulin. Eric, is it at a bubble gut bonanza division times? Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have footage of the guy. I'm sorry. You see what he looks like in the if you go to David Pulcinella, he's on Facebook and Instagram. Dave Pulcinella, he was a great national level competitor, never turned pro, but he put some comparison shots from the judging on his Facebook page. I think it's public. I don't think you have to be his friend to see it. Howard Timothy, ideal body weight to maximize athleticism and size at 68 inches tall. How tall is that? So a foot is 12 inches. 5. Is that 5'8"? I don't even know how tall it is. I don't even know what the question means. Maximize athleticism for like what sport? I don't understand your question, Howard. I'm sorry. Edward, it's low-key dope. Low-key dope because his confidence, but also a spit in the face for those who did work hard and couldn't make nationals. Yeah, I mean, imagine if you were someone who got into awesome shape and did a national qualifier and you got beat out for that spot by someone who was just a little bit better than you, but you looked awesome too. You weren't, maybe it came down to like a 1-point decision. You look great, but that person just was like a little bit better. And then you see something like this where this guy clearly was just the only one who showed up. But, that's bodybuilding competition these days. You might be the only one who shows up in your class. There might be 30 guys in your class. You never know. I mean, I love talking about myself. So was it the 2011? 2013, I think, when I did the universe as a master's over 40. And there were 32 guys in my class and I placed 14th. It was my worst placing of my entire career. And I had striated glutes and everything. It was just, I wasn't big enough. I was like barely a heavyweight. I weighed in at like 201. I had over dieted. Anyway, the point of that is there was 32 guys in that class. And a couple weeks later at the USA, it was a week or two later at the USA, for some reason, it was a really weak year for heavyweights. There was only like 10 or 11. So I would have placed better that year in the Open USA against guys who were, way better than I did at the Masters Nationals a week or two before, just because it was just luck. There was just nobody showed up at the USA and the heavyweights that year, very few people. So you never know. It's all about who shows up that day. Next, Mr. O, Big Rami going down. I don't think so. Do you know how much Carlos weighed at the show, Gregory? Gregory, I don't. He was planning on being a heavy. He was like 234 at the qualifying show a month out, 4 weeks out. So I assumed he was going to have no problem cruising into making weight for heavies, 225 and a quarter. He didn't. He didn't make the weight. He did coach himself. I know that because on this channel, we got an interview I did with him 2 days before the show last week. So I don't know why he didn't. He must have barely been over the limit. I don't know what the weight. I bet he was like 227 or something like that. I bet he was still in the 220s. I doubt he was over 230 because he did look tighter than he looked at the qualifying show. I still would like to see him tighter for his pro debut, of course, and he will be. He will be. Captain Fappin. He knows he ain't winning, so what's the problem? Yeah, I know. I mean, he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't take anybody's pro card away, or no, but he didn't take anybody's chance to compete. It's a lot of competitors felt it was disrespectful. A lot of people just feel it's disrespectful, but I don't think he has that awareness. The bikini seems to train real light, says Robertino Pagano. I don't know what that means. Yeah, bikini girls, well, they're not trying to be big. They can't have much muscle, or they'd be in some other division. If they're too muscular, they don't belong in bikini. Mr. Sir, everyone should have a go. What's to say the judges might look for that? Yeah, I mean, like I said, Everyone has the opportunity to compete in these shows. Just have to have your money and an ID, and you're good. Aesthetics Hard Boy. Serious question for you. This is unrelated. If I take in a lot of carbs as a natural, but I'm cut, should I worry about diabetic problems if I ain't diabetic? No. You don't get diabetes by eating a lot of clean carbs. You get it by becoming obese and eating a lot of junk and sugar and high fructose corn syrup and white flour and things like that. Are we done here? Are we done here? Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. I haven't even taken a shower yet. I worked legs earlier, so I really need to wash off. So thank you guys so much. Again, we got one more. One more. Why is trend so demonized? Well, it's a whole other video. Because it's very toxic. Very effective, but very toxic. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. There was no answer to this. It's just a debate, just a discussion. So just want to hear what you guys had to say. So thanks for those of you who participated in the live chat. Leave your comments below. I will respond to them if you're watching this on a replay. And again, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bells, do all that, like the video, share the video, blah, 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 blah. Talk to